Next story. By the way, while we're talking about all these things with Miami, okay, shutting down, 250 arrests, we're not doing this again, all this other business. On the opposite side, New York Times comes out with an article, and I want to read this to you, okay? Survey, only half of New Yorkers plan to stay in Democrat City, okay? So only half of New Yorkers plan to stay in Democrat City, according to the survey of more than 6,600 New York City households, reported the New York Times. This is coming from New York Times, by the way. But his fraudulent, and then this goes to Breitbart's story, Joe Biden received 76% of New York City's vote in 2020. Okay, 76% of New York City's vote in 2020. And Democrat Eric Adams received 66% of New York City mayoral vote in 2021. So why is everyone so unhappy with New York City when everyone's getting exactly what they voted for? Unhappy, these Democrats are, especially compared to 7 years ago. Only 39% are content with the state of public education currently right now. 37% are happy with the level of public safety in their neighborhoods, and only 34% are satisfied with the neighborhood's cleanliness. Less than a third rate cities' quality of life as excellent or good. Less than a third quality of life, excellent or good. Less than a quarter are content with the overall quality of government services. Do you think it gets to a point where bad policies are so bad that people on the opposing side even say, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore? Tom?
Yeah, I do. And I think if you know your history, and I'll be quick with this, go back and look what the survey said, and that led to the election of Mayor Giuliani. And we can say what you want about him now in association with Trump and things he's had, but go back and look at what led to Mayor Rudy Giuliani being elected. It was a similar time with a bunch of things that were completely out of hand, and the people voted the other way.
People voted the other way. And by the way,
Giuliani, he came in and look what he did.
But there's a bigger problem now, which is that New York as a state, someone could check the numbers on this. I think the state itself has lost about 500,000 people since COVID, right?
Net.
So 500,000, and many of them are now voting the right way in Florida. So Florida's getting redder, and then by these people leaving, New York is thus getting bluer. So now you've put a divide there, but also there is no Giuliani left in New York. We've talked about, I think we talked about it on when we did the live show here with him. There is no Rudy left there that thinks that they can fix it. Now, maybe the miracle person shows up and can really reverse the direction of the entire machine, but probably not. When Kathy Hochul, who was one of the worst COVID maniacs in the country, when she got elected, which wasn't a re-election, it was her first election because she obviously took over for Cuomo, she only won by about 500,000 votes for governor this last time.
To Zeldin.
Zeldin, who nobody knew 2 weeks before the election. He was a little congressman nobody had heard of. So she wins by 500,000 votes, but we know about 500,000 people left the state. Now, it's not to say every single one of them would have voted that way. But the point is, the divide now has gotten bigger and bigger, and I think we're just there's almost no way to reverse that. Can you imagine a sane, let's say a somewhat conservative-leaning New Yorker saying, I'm going to run for mayor of New York and winning? How would it be possible?
Well, I think, I'm telling you, I know this sounds crazy and bold, but I think Trump's camp is convinced they can flip New York, okay? They think there's a chance they can flip New York. Do you know what?
Do you think they can flip New York?
Well, I think right now, if you're playing a game and you're looking at the score and what happened over the years and how close it is, it's not close. The Dems are still ahead. But the more and more, give you an example. Stephen A. Smith. Can you pull up Stephen A. Smith, by the way, the clip with Chris Cuomo? So both Chris Cuomo and Stephen A. Smith are probably voting left and have their entire lives, okay? President's wives. Let's just, Cuomo, last name, father, Mario, brother, Andrew, CNN. That's his background. That's what he's done. We know where he's probably going to lean politically. Yep. Stephen A. Smith is fair. He'll give his thoughts and his opinions, but he's also probably voting the other side. Again, folks, I don't know. I'm not speaking. I'm just saying probably. I'm giving guesstimation. They can come out and say, Patrick, you're wrong. We voted in a different way. But I'm saying that's probably where they are. But watch what Stephen A. Smith says, that what's not working today. Watch this.
It's good to have you. I got a couple of topics for you. It's a beautiful shirt. First thing is, You don't like the way the media played the Trump bloodbath situation. Why?
Well, first of all, I thought that he was talking about the United States and China and the auto industry, and I thought that they used it as an opportunity to expose and exploit the kind of things that they wanted to about Donald Trump. Fair enough. The problem is that he's kicking their tail. That's really what this comes down to. According to the polls, he's up, he's gaining momentum. And when you use these kind of tactics and it comes with a question mark, it comes with some trepidation, I don't think that's something that has shown itself to work against Trump over the last few months or so. I mean, the guy's got 4 indictments, 91 counts against him. He's been impeached twice. He just lost a civil case where he was ordered to pay in excess of $400 million. And he keeps gaining campaign dollars. He keeps gaining momentum. And somehow, some way, they keep using the same old tactics. That was really my point. It's not working. It's not being effective. He's literally kicking their butts, and they've got to get their act together and find a different strategy, because the fear mongering over the kind of things that may come out of his mouth is not the kind of tactics that have proven to work against this man, at least as of late.
Pause it right there. Okay, so check this out. You hear Stephen A. Smith. He's a New York guy. You can just listen to him. He's an East Coast guy, right?
Yeah.
And he's saying this. And by the way, he works for an organization that got rid of a lot of people that were on the right side that maybe they didn't work out or you stopped hearing from them. We can name some of these guys. You ever sit there and you're like, what happened to Broussard? What happened to Sage? What happened to all of the, where did they go all of a sudden? That was the organization. Even when I was sitting down with Stephen A. and I was interviewing him when we were in New York at ESPN, you know what his handler kept telling Mario? He kept telling Mario, hey, Mario, Patrick better not ask any politics. Stephen A. doesn't want to address any political questions. And I said, does Stephen A. not want to answer political questions? Or does ESPN not want Stephen A. to be wanting to answer political questions?
Bingo.
So you just kind of watch to see what's going on. Do you think common sense is going to prevail? Like, maybe even let's do this, okay? Let's do this. Rob, can you run a poll for me? Run a poll and say, chances Trump wins New York, okay? Put less than 25%, put 25 to 50%, put 50% plus, okay? Chances he wins New York. And by the way, folks, while you're voting for this, don't vote emotionally. Actually think about it. It's very, very hard to beat New York. What do you think is going to happen?
Can we get the numbers on New York last time? That would be.
We pulled it up the other day, but it was like 50, 46, 40, 50. I don't know what but it was something like.
I sent Rob at current numbers.
And by the way, just a heads up, all the connects that I get on the app, all the majority of the New Yorkers, from cops to business people to everybody, I'm not joking, Dave, all of them, every single one of them is like, hey, man, what the, like, can you guys talk about this problem? Talk about this problem. I'm moving. How's Florida? I'm coming. Every single New Yorker that I speak to, shout out to everybody that I talk to on my neck, they're all like, bro, I'm talking about law enforcement guys that own pizza shops. They're like, this is just effing crazy. They're like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
I could show you, I can't do it on air, but I could show you easily 10 conversations I'm having with guys that were NYPD, former NYPD, that all have left. And most of them are here now. And that's, again, it goes to that divide. You start losing all of the good people. So the question is, even if Trump's policies make more sense, and even if everyone's like, you know, I've had it, they're roasting rats on the subway, this is a problem, there may just not be enough good people left, and you got to give the devil his due. The media has confused people and lied to people about so much that people just vote the wrong way.
There you go, 61-38. But keep in mind when this was. This vote was when?
2020.
November 2020. What happened to New York post November
totally different.
2020? Totally different.
If I can give a little perspective on this, and I sent you some numbers to validate this. Look, the big 3 blue liberal states, we all know this, California, New York, and then if you want to put Illinois as a second runner-up, you know, second city. Those are the big 3. But if you actually peel back the numbers and you actually take a look at the bigger context of what's going on in California, your guys' state, in New York, it's not even close. Because if you look at the sort of the zeitgeist of each of these cities, New York is capitalism. It's Wall Street. Is, you know, Vinny's from Yonkers over here. There's like this, what the fuck is going on here type of vibe. California is totally different. Hollywood, Silicon Valley, it's literally left, far left. So if you look at the numbers, Rob, Trump has closed the gap by 10. So if you look at the numbers now, there's only basically a 10-point lead in New York between Biden and Trump, whether it's 42-32 or 46-36. But if you go to California, it's actually still a 20-point lead. That same 20-point lead that Biden beat Trump in 2020. So something in the DNA of New Yorkers is basically saying, I'm not just going to go along with the blue no matter who mantra.
What's that syndrome where you like your abuser and you fall in love with it?
Stockholm syndrome.
That's exactly what, because it's that close still. That means people are just like, no, anything but Trump. And they're willing to suffer just because the orange bad man Hitler guy, that's what they don't want.
Let's also not forget, where's Trump from? New York.
Oh,
New Yorkers know Trump, not just the political Trump, the 2016 down the escalator Trump.
Home Alone
You're
2
talking
Trump.
about
which
Home Alone 2.
isn't on cable anymore.
It's not on cable anymore.
The bankruptcy Trump, the casino Trump, the Trump. So, there's a deep, deep history with Trump, good and bad.
I think New York is not afraid to take a stand, and everybody.
Everybody. Sounds like an Eminem song.
Can come take his hand, and they can walk this road together, right? Through the storm. And I think New York's capable of doing that. A poet said that once,
That's
right?
an amazing.
But here's the poll for you: 3,000 people voted, less than 25%. 28%, 25 to 50% chance, 45, 50 plus 28. So, it's to say 73 says there's a less than 50% chance he wins.
Unfortunately, 28% of our audience is now officially delusional if they think there's a greater than 50% chance that Trump wins New York. But respect to you guys out there.
Words talk, numbers scream. Could you pop back to the polls, really the Siena polls? Take a look at the most recent Siena poll. Add those together. Biden 42, Trump 32. That is 75%. That means 25% of the people in that poll, these are the independents right now that on polling are saying neither. And it's showing up a lot. You can go to all the polling places, but this is the new strength of the American independent voter, that people are not looking at this in the polls. Which way are those indies going to break when the rubber hits the road and the two conventions come and go and it gets serious and they're looking at the economy, they're looking at the border, and it's time to vote.
Well, if you take a closer look at the numbers.
Think about this. What are the chances? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
No, I was just going to say there's actually numbers that support what Tom is saying. Basically, Kennedy, RFK, is getting about 10 to 15%. And the leftist, communist Cornel West is taking about 5% in New York.
But watch this.
That's how the numbers break.
Watch this. This is what's interesting. When did you think a guy named Mark Cuban would defend Trump? When did you think a guy, Kevin O'Leary, would come out this publicly defending a judge out of New York? Kevin O'Leary says New York Attorney General Letitia James' threat to seize Trump's asset is an attack on America. He condemns New York Attorney General Letitia James' threat to seize Trump's assets, labeling it an attack on America, citing the significance of property rights and due process. You think about America, the reason this is the #1 economy on earth is that we have laws and we have due process and we have property rights. O'Leary expresses concern over the unprecedented nature of James's action, noting the lack of precedent for a 30-day bond requirement and its potential impact on foreign investments. The concept of seizing assets is on a 30-day bond number has never been issued. No insurance company has ever issued anything near this, so there's no chance it was going to happen. The legal dispute arises. I mean, this is him saying the clip, and how long is this, Rob? Because I'm pretty much done with what he said.
About a minute.
Okay, it's fine. I mean, I pretty much read what he said. Yeah. The legal dispute arises from James' lawsuit against the Trump Organization for fraud and overvaluation of assets, with Trump ordered to pay $350 million in damages by March 25th. And they're trying to right now find a way. And by the way, if he doesn't come up with the money on Monday, do you know what the lady on The View said the other day? Do you know what Letitia James said the other day? Do you know they can't, you know how they said, we can't wait for him to sit in court like this and have to answer questions? Do you know on The View, they're like, oh, I just can't wait to see his assets being seized. I just can't wait to see that happen. They're celebrating this happening.
But Pat, I'm sure you know this, but the part that you didn't mention there is that the banks got paid back. Everybody was made whole.
course.
He makes a point of saying this in the CNN clip. So everyone was made whole. And this idea that you can just overvalue all your companies and the banks will give you whatever you want
how business works.
it's not how anyone that buys a house, you buy $1 million house, you got to put 20% down. You need an $800,000 loan, but you can't just say to the bank, I would like $800,000, please. And they look at the house, they see the comps, all the obvious
And you
stuff
can't even tell the bank, I think this is a $50 million property. No, it's called, someone's got to go do the appraisal.
Yeah, we'll do the underwriting. We'll do the appraisal, Mr. Buyer. Can you just stand over there for a minute with your realtor?
Well, that's why the Mar-a-Lago thing. So Mar-a-Lago, they said it's valued at $18 million. It's 17 acres. An acre there on the water in West Palm, an acre alone is easy $5 million. So like you just extrapolate that, and then 18 acres is special. So now you're going to have a premium. Just none of it makes any sense, but this is what they do. And again, I think this is why I'm not bullish on Trump winning New York, because there are not enough good people left who get what the issues are. And that leads just the divide to just grow and grow and grow.
Rob, I'm going to send this to you based on what Dave just said, where they were CNN all bragging about the fact that this is not they're telling a story when Letitia James came out saying Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million, right? Watch this CNN story. I'm just going to give you the screenshot. If you can pull it up, Rob, I just literally texted it to you. Look what even CNN has Mar-a-Lago worth if he does a fire sale. Even CNN knows it's worth $240 million. Right. Okay? Do you realize this? They just tell this story. So Trump has until Monday to pay $454 in a fraud case. If he misses the deadline, the New York AG can start seizing his properties. Properties Trump could sell on a fire sale today. On a fire sale, even CNN says they can get $240 million from Mar-a-Lago.
I mean, look, you've been there. The place could use a little paint job. They've got some cracks in the walls. There's some stuff that could be fixed. But you know what? If they can get this thing for 18, how about we'll all split?
Oh, I'm all in.
Yeah,
it's not even a question.
Let's do it.
But here's my question to you guys. From a legal standpoint, how the hell can she get away with this for this long and get to the point where they're going to seize this shit? What does that say about our legal system,
But
Dave?
what does it say about New York? That's the point I'm trying to drive home. And that's what O'Leary is saying. This has nothing to do with Trump. The system is now so corrupt and it is so broken, and there aren't enough good DAs left in New York. There aren't enough good lawyers. All of the people that are taking their businesses out of there. Elon taking, the X corporation out of Delaware.
Yep.
Like, we're just going to see that divide continue and continue. So the Rudy that was waiting when David Dinkins was destroying New York City, he doesn't live in New York in 2024, and that is the problem.